Prophet Abraham is the common patriarch, fathering Ishmael, the ancestor of the Arab people, and Isaac, whose son Jacob is renamed Israel, establishing the lineage of the Israelites. While the term Israelites refers to the ancient biblical people, Jews evolved as a religious and ethno-religious identity. In modern times, the Jewish population is diverse, consisting of both ancestral descendants and those who converted to Judaism across various cultures, complicating simplistic claims of a singular racial identity. But most of the people of Israel are not racially Jewish. Not racially Jewish. They became Jews only because their grandparents or grandparents converted to Judaism. Most of the people of Israel are not Jewish racially. They are not connected to the ancient Jews biologically, genetically, or anthropologically. The atheist Theodor Herzl, the father of modern political Zionism, and yes, you heard that right. The father of modern political Zionism was an atheist. He argued in his seminal book, The Jewish State, that Jews needed sovereignty to escape anti-Semitism. Following this ideology, another atheist, David Ben Gurion, became a central figure in the movement to establish a state in Palestine. Beginning in the 1880s and intensifying during the British Mandate period, the period after World War I, when Palestine was placed by the League of Nations under British mandate, waves of Jewish immigrants arrived, significantly altering the region's demographics or Palestine's demographics. In 1947, the United Nations proposed a partition plan that granted a significant portion of land to the minority Jewish population despite the Palestinian majority. This was widely viewed by the indigenous Palestinian population as an act of colonial injustice. The aftermath was catastrophic, culminating in the 1948 Nakba, or the catastrophe. During this period, an estimated 15,000 Palestinians were killed and approximately 700,000 were ethnically cleansed and displaced, with over 400 villages destroyed or depopulated or massacred. Illegal occupation of Gaza, East Jerusalem, the West Bank, and the Golan Heights of Syria. The following decade saw four major Arab-Israeli wars. By 1967, Israel occupied the Gaza Strip, East Jerusalem, the West Bank, and the Golan Heights of Syria. This occupation remains a central issue in international law today. Since 1967, the situation in Gaza has been characterized by cycles of conflict leading up to the events of October 7, 2023. Since that date, the ensuing war has resulted in a massive humanitarian crisis and tens of thousands of Palestinian deaths. Simultaneously, the West Bank has faced persistent settler violence, which is frequently cited as a major obstacle to peace. International bodies have consistently condemned these actions. Numerous UN resolutions have called for an end to the illegal occupation. And in 2024, the International Court of Justice, or ICJ, issued an advisory opinion declaring the occupation and the establishment of Israeli settlements in the West Bank and East Jerusalem illegal under international law. Furthermore, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and other officials have faced ongoing scrutiny and legal proceedings before the International Criminal Court, or ICC, and the ICJ regarding their genocidal conduct in these territories. There is a warrant of arrest against Netanyahu issued by the ICC for war crimes and crimes against humanity in Gaza. He is also indicted before the ICJ, the principal judicial organ of the UN, for genocide against the people of Gaza. The past military incursions of Israel into Lebanon, along with the severe atrocities they have committed across Lebanon and Syria, represent an entirely different issue. Israel has leveled southern Lebanon, including Christian villages, and killed at least 4,000 Lebanese, including Christian Lebanese, not just Shia Lebanese, but also Christian Lebanese. One of them, one of the victims, was Father Pierre El Rahi, a Maronite Catholic priest. The Balfour Declaration was issued by the British government in 1917. It was a short letter where Britain expressed its support for the establishment of a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine, while promising not to prejudice the civil and religious rights of existing non-Jewish communities. But is it true that the civil and religious rights of existing non-Jewish communities were not prejudiced? In the Nakba, the catastrophe, an estimated 15,000 civilians were killed, approximately 700,000 were ethnically cleansed and displaced, over 400 villages destroyed or depopulated or massacred. So, were the civil and religious rights of existing non-Jewish communities not prejudiced? The Camp David Accords were brokered by the U.S. in 1978. These were landmark agreements between Israel and Egypt that resulted in a peace treaty. It led to Israel returning the Sinai Peninsula and Egypt becoming the first Arab state to officially recognize Israel. And the Abraham Accords were signed in 2020. They were a series of U.S. brokered agreements which normalized diplomatic, economic, and security relations between Israel and several Arab states, including the UAE, Bahrain, and Morocco. That's why some people call the UAE as United Hebrew Emirates. Israel seized control of Gaza in 1967, establishing a military presence and unauthorized settlements similar to those in East Jerusalem and the West Bank. Although they withdrew their forces and settlements in 2005, the UN continues to classify Gaza as under illegal occupation. This is because Israel continues to dominate Gaza's borders, airspace, and territorial waters. Consequently, Gaza has deteriorated into a heavily impoverished territory, often compared to a Nazi concentration camp or the world's largest open-air prison. Because of the rampant killings of Palestinians by Israel long before the current conflict, the events of October 7, 2023 are often viewed similar to an attempt to break out of a prison. Since October 2023, Israel has killed 75,000 people in Gaza. 21,000 of those who were killed were children. The Israeli entity, the Israeli entity is an inherently political construct rooted in historical Zionism rather than ancestral exclusivity. The foundation of the state, which is actually Israel is not a state, it is a fake, artificial state, a colonial project of Western powers. The foundation of this entity called Israel, Zionist entity, colonial project called Israel, relied on colonial injustice and the dispossession of the indigenous Palestinian majority, resulting in a legacy of displacement, conflict, and ongoing territorial occupation.